friends, this is Ravi Kiran. Today I'm going to show you how to configure additional domain controller in Forest. So before continue, can you please click on subscribe button on my YouTube channel and click on bell icon so that for getting a more latest video alerts. And let's start. So okay, I have Windows DC 2012 R2 data center, and I have another DC with 2019 data center, and this is the freshly installed. Okay, and I'm going to show how to configure additional domain controller on existing domain controllers. If you want to verify, you can click here and you can open Active Directory users and computers. We'll have a default OU for domain controllers. You can verify over there. So here I have only WinDC01. This is the only default first site name. GC means global catalog. The object is computer. It shows like AD uh, Windows 2012 Active Directory AD account. You can verify the properties and default site, global catalog, and operating system, and a member of, and the managed by, and location, and dial in. So these are informations are provided. And today let's start. This is my domain, my domain.in. So let me start configuring additional domain controller on existing 2012. Okay, let's start. I'm going to change the computer name. I'm going to create Win DC 2019. I'm going to click OK. Okay, name is changed, WinDC 2019. Now it is in workgroup. Okay, click close, and it is prompting for a restart to change the effect. So let's do it later. Click later, and before that stop the firewall. You can stop the firewall, go to advanced settings, and I'm going to stop the firewall on existing domain controller. And okay, it is open. So you can properties, and you can disable all the firewall rules. Now everything done. Apply. Okay, all the firewall rules is disabled now. And you can enable the remote desktop services, and Ethernet is IPv4 and IPv6. So before that, any configure additional domain controller, we should give a static IP address. So now I'm going to properties. So I will uncheck IPv6, and I'll select IPv4 and click properties, and I'm going to give a IP address of the machine 192.168.2. Series I'm using, so I'm giving 100. Let's give 100. And default subnet is 255.255.255.0, and default gateway for my router is 192.168.2.2. If you have any internal router, you will have like 2.1, 1.1, like that. Just check your router details and add it. So now I am going to add the first primary server. So it's 2.10. The primary DNS is my Windows 2012 DC. So I'm giving 2.10. Click OK, and IP address is assigned now. So it is prompting, and you can verify the status. So whether IP address is added or not, you can verify. So here IP address is statically assigned, and it is now connected internet. Click close into, and now you can restart the machine. and click on start button and power button, restart. So plan, you can update like plan reboot. So we are changing to the default name. So Windows Win 19. This is the machine name we mentioned. So let's go to Windows 2012, and here we have only WinDC. So before that I'm using a service login account. So I have administrator account. So this is a member of domain admins, and I mentioned different security groups. So domain admins is the main part. So if you want to add any new additional domain controller in existing, so the user should be a domain administrator group or enterprise group, so he should have a privileges to add the domain controller. Okay, and let's go. Okay, it's still booting, and before that you can verify start tools and sites and services, and you can verify domain and trust. We can view which domains are exist here. So here my I can see I can see there is no trust between another computer, so it is a single domain, so it's showing. And go to sites and services. Go We have a default site. So here we have only servers. In servers we have WinDC only one, and there things is there is no another additional DCs or any other different site servers, so we don't have any information. If company having in other locations, so they will create a default site names. Now it is a default site. You can create a, site names, creating site. You can add, and you can add like, okay, I'm going to add Hyderabad site. The site name should be space. Before that, Chennai. So it is created Chennai site. So I'm going to create another Hyderabad Hyderabad site. You can default like created. So here we don't have any servers listed. You can create a number of sites based on your location. I will create a Mumbai site. Okay, Mumbai. So there is no servers. Let's go to 2019 server. Now it is ready to log in. Okay, I have a local administrator password, so I'm going to enter. So loading the profile, and next we want to promote this domain controller to as an additional domain controller on existing 2012 DC. So for this we need to add one role on existing 2012-19. So for that we'll go to server manager first. Click start button, and let's continue this one. Sites has been created. You can add additional domain controllers on different sites. So we have a default site, so I'm using WinDC here. So like that we can add multiple DCs in the different location sites. This is one, and you can see the properties of this entities and DNS alias and connections, if any, objects is which location it is there, security which we can have a domain admin and enterprise. You can create another security group to provide access on these domains. And let's go to server manager. Click server manager, Okay, and let's install one role and feature. So I'm clicking add. 1 minute, it's still loading. Let it complete. If you want to add any roles, click on add roles and features. This is the main one option. Okay, click add roles and features. So your before you begin, this is a before you begin. This is to remove roles or role services or features. If you are going to start, click next. If you want to remove, you can remove. You need to select this one. Start the remove roles and features wizard. It will be for any removing roles. You need to click this one. For adding, you need to click next. So I'm doing a role based or feature based installation on existing server. So configure a single server by adding roles. So this is one. Click next. So I have selected a default server. Okay, WinDC 2019 and click next. Okay, now we are going to install domain services. So domain services is a once uh, role. Click role, add features that require for Active Directory domain services. Add features. So one role is selected. No need to select any other roles if you are going to install Active Directory services. Click next. And Active Directory domain services, it is prompting, and Azure Active Directory other features will be enabled. Okay, if you need, and click next and install. So it's starting the installation and it will take some time, and Active Directory services domain services will be installed on this 2019 server. Domain services role is installed. We need to promote this server to a domain controller. So here we're getting notification and click on promote this server. Okay, now it is displaying. So regarding these three options, add a domain controller to an existing domain controller. So we are adding a existing domain controller for additional domain controller on existing domain. So we are selecting this one. If you want to create another child domain on existing, so you can select here tree and child domain. So this I'll show you on next video. This is add a new forest means if you want to create another new domain, my domain.in is already exists, so you want to create new domain.in or any name which you want, like, you can add here and click next. So now today I'm going to show how to add a domain controller to an existing domain controller. So click first one. So domain name it is not showing, so I am going to give a credentials my domain slash administrator and password and click next. Okay, and my domain is visible now. Click next. And it is prompting DNS cannot be installed on existing, so we'll install later. And we can select, so we have created sites, so I'm selecting Hyderabad, and we can give the password for uh, restoration, Active Directory restore mode if required future. So click next and specify install from media IFM option. IFM option means install from media. If machine domain controller is in remote location, so for synchronization it will take some time. For that we can have a DVD or the data of the Active Directory database can be import from the media, and it is verifying replicate from the any domain controller. So it will show the domain controllers, how many domain controllers are exist in this main domain my domain .in. So you can replicate any domain controller. If you want to select nearby domain controller, you can select the domain controller. This is one option. So now I am click the drop down, and you can see only one win DC01. So we have only one. So if you have multiple DCs in existing location, multiple locations, you can select the uh, nearby location DC. I'm selecting WinDC01 and next. So specify the location of the AD DS database, log file, and sysvol. Active Directory database is stored in NTDS folder, and the log files will be stored in NTDS folder. Sysvol folder is stored in Windows sysvol. Sysvol contains all group policies and policies to the synchronize with the users and computer objects and all the printers. So click next. To install this domain controller wizard, you need to perform the following operations. So forest and schema preparation and domain preparation. Click next and configure this server as an additional Active Directory domain controller. For domain is my domain. So site name I have selected Hyderabad, and additional options, it's not a read-only domain controller, so no. And global catalog is yes. DNS I have not selected, so it's no. And the source means it's a WinDC01, only one domain controller we have selected. And database, a log folder and sysvol folder or the default location. Click next. And prerequisites need to be validated before Active Directory domain services is installed on this computer. So it is verifying the synchronization between existing domains. So everything is passed, so it's giving green mark. Click install to begin. So install. And upgrading forest, and one by one it will schema updating and domain of forest preparation, everything will be done on step by step. And all the Active Directory database will be synchronized between two domain controllers now. And see the changing domain membership of this computer, and configuring local computer host, Active Directory services, and replicating all the schema. All the information will be stored at the same replica of existing domain controller. And if you verify our netdom command, you will see which FSMO roles are and in which server. So primary server will have all the FSMO roles, only the global catalog will be on one server. So okay, now it is going to be restart the machine. Rebooting, it is prompting to log in, and now Active Directory services is installed. Okay, let's verify. Login with the domain account. Okay, my domain administrator is showing, so I want to, okay, let's go with the password, local administrator. So this is the account, uh, centralized administrator account. So now it is loading. Before we'll go to Windows DC 2012. Okay, in domain control we have WinDC01 is only one computer object. Let's refresh. Okay, now we are able to see WinDC 2090 computer and global catalog. Site is Hyderabad. Now we are able to see. If you want to go Active Directory sites and services, you can see a default site is showing NTDS replication. If you want to go Hyderabad, see Hyderabad and WinDC. So it is created here. Okay, and let's go to Windows TC. Okay, now click start button. You can verify Active Directory, creating a user accounts. Manager, click server manager first. So you can verify, like, okay, suppose we have Kiran is one account, and domain servers we have 4, and user accounts we have multiple 30-40. We can verify these information in existing 2019 DC. So click on local server. Previously it's showing a work group, so now it will show my domain.in and everything, and Ethernet IP address is showing 2.100, and you can see all the configuration details. Go to Tools, click Active Directory, Users and Computers. Now it is configured, so I am going to change the preferred DNS also. Okay, let's go to Properties, Status, it is connected IPv4, and Details, DNS server is 10. Click Close, Properties. You can go IPv4, and this is the primary DNS you can give. If you want to add, you can add. This server will be primary for this, and can add like this. Okay, and now I'm expanding my domain.in Active Directory. See here, computers, one is a domain controller. I can see DC01 and DC 2019. Yeah, I'm going to click on my domain admins. One account is existing, same account we can view on 2012 DC also. Here we have remote server, 4 servers, and users. So we have users and groups and this OU. So if you want to create, I'm going to create one test user here. It will replicate to the existing server. Test, 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 and click next. You can give the password complexity and give the password, confirm password. You can use user must change password at next logon. Click next. Sorry, password is not matching. Okay, next. Okay, the username is test at mydomain.in. Finish. So account is created in DC 2019. Let's go to DC here and refresh. It will take seconds to replicate the services, the user account on this existing domain. And before that, we'll verify. I think the DNS properties, I think we need to verify on 2012, so it's showing this one. So I'm going to change 192.168.2.10, and this preferred DNS is adding this one. Click close, done, and close. So refresh. You can do one thing, and go to command prompt, and you can execute the replication command to verify. Let's do rep admin slash repl sum. So this is the replication data, begin data collection of the replication summary, WinDC source and destination WinDC 2019. So there is no fails, 00 6 milliseconds, so it's showing. And if you want to verify, you can search here, find test. It's taking time. Let's replicate. 1 minute. Let's go to uh, I think the default replication is not configured, so we need to create. Sorry, this step I have forgot. Why? Because we are not using default site. So default site in Hyderabad and default site is different location. So we need to create between both replication service. So now I am going to create a WinDC is going to replicate with 2019. Okay, done, and replication successful. If you want to create any replicate service between this one, you can add this one. Right, now go to users. You can see here the replication between both. So source destination, it's showing. Okay, And okay, now we are able to see the test account on DC01. And I have created another account. Let's create another account, and let's create group, uh, RDS group, and click OK. RDS group is created on 2012 data center. Click go to here and admin. Now we are able to see only 2 user accounts. It will take some time. The replication time will take based on the location. You can verify here, and you can replicate, and the replication can be complete successful. That this is a manual replication, and replication interval will be default time.